Hello ladies, hello gentlemen, and welcome to Have the Race Gone for the second broadcast of the evening. A big rest in peace to our boys in iRacing. Well, that myself included. I did my stints earlier. Traels died in the most unpredictable of manners. I saw that on the replay, and that was hard punishment for a small error. And that's the ways of endurance racing. Sometimes you die. And that's how it is. As always, the fun part is taking part. Hey, everybody's a winner. Everybody's a loser. Everybody is. Anyway, we're here, round 8 of the Nukeshot Endurance Series. For the second running week, we're running merged lobbies. So we've got Pro and Am splits running together at the same time here from Interlagos. I'm sure it's gonna be a hell of a race. Was certainly unpredictable last week from Tokyo. The street race usually is super unpredictable indeed. Here from Interlagos, let's see if it was gonna be the same. It's one of my absolute favorite tracks, and it usually makes for some great racing indeed. Hello Rotary, hello Martin, my lad, Jimmy as well. Nice to have you along. The Mew. The Mew, that was the plan all along. That I was doing my stint and then I'd have this to broadcast. Commitments elsewhere, you might call it. It was supposed to be a doubleheader. It just went to be like a cheap replacement for the finishing in iRacing. But we do have multi-class racing here from GT Sport with the LMPs and the GT3s, that is. Here from the Nukeshot Endurance Series. And of course, as always, tires times 2, fuel times 3, is that the way of it? Tires times 3, 2 times fuel times 2, I don't remember anyway. But yeah, that's what happens. Knew I could have done a better stint as well. Here's GTO yet again here in the Hyundai. Haven't seen much of the Hyundai machines here in the Nukeshot Endurance Series, but here they are indeed. As mentioned, Jimmy, is he racing? No, he's not in the safety car. And he just got axed, I think. Oh, poor Jimmy. Here's Red Dude, championship contender alongside Joe of the Fire in the GT Pro Series. We have Wake and CJ pretty much battling it out in the LMP Pro battle for that championship lead. It was indeed hurtful for the heart. And let's have a look at the practice times. I would expect the Porsche 919s to be hard to touch. The LMPs here at Interlagos. We'll have to see how the VLX Tomahawks compare. And then we of course have the two Rebellion Toyota TSO 30s. Very nicely made delivery on those, I have to say. Where are they gonna split in Orama? Who did so well last week. And then we got both the Calsonic Nissans lining up. We got ERT Ben, who's racing in the Pro Split. We've got Rotary, who usually races in the AM Split. We've got James of the Arrows Racing Team as well. James 44 in the Aston Martin. the aforementioned GTO as well in the Hyundai Genesis. Fred Dude on track now in his BMW M6, the junior mate. The slightly less big boy, but still a very big boy indeed. It's got girth. And no mute, please. Even I didn't see what happened to Dog at the end. Dog to Doc. Dr. Rob, that is, of course. I'd like to hear as well, please. We got Taz and Farron as well, so both of the 911 RSRs on track with us here tonight. Rotary exiting the pits now, and then we have Maverick, of course, Joe of the Fire, not racing tonight in the second of the Nukeshot or not the TSO 50s, of course, the FT1s, Toyota FT1s. Y-Bear is not racing as mentioned tonight. We have Ryan, who's fastest in practice so far. Norama there, a bit of way back. We haven't had CJ on track yet, and we have yet for the qualifying sessions to start as well, so we might be looking at a little bit of a delay here. That is, though, much more competitive all of a sudden from Orama, who's now within half a second of Wake's time, which is in turn, of course, a little bit slower than what practice times Ryan has put in so far, so still maybe a little bit off the top pace at least. Oh, onto that Astro Turf of Death on the exit of turn 4. Let's go on with a... Oh, there's a bit of a penalty to serve here. Turn 5, that long sweeping right-hander comes across the crest of that little hill, and then that slow middle section twists and turns, and it is practically impossible to overtake, unless, of course, mistakes are made. But then into the final sector with the downhill left-hander, and into the abrupt following left-hander, then up the hill for the, well, long bend that leads on to the start-finish straight. I guess it is a turn, although it doesn't really count. That's a turn in my book. Across the line we go then to complete the lap on Interlagos. Oh, that is a big F. Mew, that is a huge F. And indeed, as Martin says, it did actually happen to Traels in one of the sprint races as well. Oh, it's gonna be hard not to be gutted about such. But that's also what makes iRacing so interesting in the end. The fact that one mistake can really end up costing you big time, and that's how racing is. It'll be interesting to see just how long it'll be before we get the qualifying sessions underway. Mind you, we have 2 sessions to run. We have 10 minutes of qualifying for the GT3s, or the GTs if you will, since it's actually a bit of a mismatch of GT cars, given that we have the 911 RSR alongside actual GT3 cars, alongside something that most certainly isn't real GT3 cars, or that's fictional cars like the Hyundai Genesis and such. They've managed to be BOP'd out somewhat, though you would expect the 911 RSR to have so much more downforce, so much more cornering speed, at least in real life, that I have to wonder whether it's really fair. Well, that's on PD, not on us. Yeah, exactly, Jimmy. The RSR GT3. But indeed, PD, they could fix the entire RSR problem by giving us something that exists. What is it called? The GT3 RS? I don't even remember. Three GT3. Yeah, it kind of sounds like. It's true, Jimmy. But anyways, as mentioned, we've got both Taz and Farron lining up in the RSRs, R's is R's, and class is class. Oh, someone went very much straight on in turn one. I think that was one of the rebellions. And there we have it. Start of the GT qualifying session. It's live now with the first cars breaking up. We've got 10 minutes of qualifying to run. And I gotta sneeze. I feel like I have an incoming sneeze. Or perhaps not, we'll see. It might just erupt all of a sudden. Like this qualifying session just came out of nowhere. All of a sudden it was there. Bam, boom, what you gonna do? The GT qualifying session is live. Of course, we got Pro and AM cars in the same split. Perhaps new. Maybe Bless. Maybe not. We'll have to see. Yes, we like to call us. We like to call us Clip. So we have outlaps going on for the time being. Joe of the Fire, Fred Dude, Rotary on the Belgian's tail, Farron and Taz in the two 911s. CJ seeming to have some kind of issues here, then ERT Ben, so perhaps a little bit of connectivity issues there, it seems. And James and GTO, and that makes for 8 GT cars. That's a sizable GT field compared to what we have over the last races, and that's gonna make for a bit of a challenge in traffic for the LMPs. Getting around here, Joe of the Fire starting the first flying lap, the championship leader in the GT Pro class. Oi, 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 Mika, nice to have you along. Welcome, mate. See you're back on GT Sport for an evening. Hope to see you again on iRacing soon. Do some more racing together. So Joe of the Fire, Rotary, running well. Slight extension, oh, and then just slightly overshooting. That right-hander, that'll be turn 7. And it seems Fred Dude has timed it well. So I think at least the Belgian here, I think, could be looking at a very good result. I'd expect the M6 to be strong around here. It has ample top speed and it's no slouch when it comes to handling as well. It could really be a tough nut to crack. Joe of the Fire set his first lap. That's a 1:30.9. Now let's see what's Fred Dude gonna hammer in here. Oh, that's very close indeed. Less than a 1/10 of a second between Joe of the Fire and Fred Dude. And then currently third fastest is Taz. the RSR, then Rotary Farron, ERT Ben, and James. Ben, though... Oh, Ben just manages to wedge himself in between the time set by Joe of the Fire and Fred Dude. And now we have 3 drivers atop the GT standings within a tenth of a second. That is impressive indeed. The pace very, very, very close indeed here. I think this is GTO just about to complete the first flying lap here. The last one of the GT's yet to set a timer. That's 5th fastest, the second down on provisional pole time set by Joe of the Fire. So that's certainly all right for GTO. Joe of the Fire coming in to complete lap number 2. Is it going to be a hot flying lap all the way to the line, or is it going to be an in lap here? I think it's going to be an in lap, judging on the time, judging on the line as well, that the witty professor takes into the pit lane. Who the hell is there in front, hammering on the throttle? Someone is, at least, and out comes Joe of the Fire. Half the qualifying session gone for the GTs. Still these 3 cars within a tenth of a second. We've had James 4th best, around half a second down. And then on the following lap, very, very close to their own first flyer. That's going to be a bit frustrating, being so close to an improvement. Here comes GTO, and here's Farron leading the pits as well. Fred Dude completing the outlap, so does Joe of the Fire for the time being. James must be on an in lap this time around, I take it. Going on board here with the witty professor, the championship leader. I shall just check out if we've actually had the championship standings updated. Though, as mentioned, in the pro split, at least, the championship battles very much going on between Wake of the TSR team and the VLX boys, with CJ leading them off. In the GTs, it's Joe of the Fire against Fred Dude for the time being, at least, and seems like it's gonna be a double two-way all the way to the finish line at the last round, which is of course taking place at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Fair to say that we know it quite well. Oh, Joe of the Fire, I think, bins this lap. At least it will need to be a lot better all the way around for the rest of the lap to make up for that mistake. The qualifying lap, not sure that that's going to be possible in the end. Pick up Jack Wilkinson on the cam. His chin is well aware of this fact. And of course, if you like what we do with the Nukeshot Endurance Series, with our GT Sport broadcasts, or perhaps with our iRacing exploits, leave us a like. And if you really like what you do, well, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell icon as well to keep yourself notified of whenever we do anything, basically. It's still status quo between the top 3 in the GT class here. Joe of the Fire, ERT Ben, and Fred Dude. We've had Joe of the Fire on a purple first sector. We have Ben here on a purple first sector as well. Now it's that time, still gonna be holding up for Ben. Crosses the line of sector 2 right around here. We're gonna see up on the personal best by just by 2,000ths of a second. Although it really doesn't need to improve by a lot to grab provisional pole. That's a bit of a double whammy, but provisional pole it'll be. Can ERT Ben improve by 200ths of a second? That's 2/10ths of a second of an improvement. And Joe of the Fire towards the line, now aiming for a 1:30.7 to beat. And it's not going to be this time around. No improvement for the Witty Professor. Here is Red Dude on a flyer as well. So what is it going to be for the Belgian here? I think it's going to be an improvement, half a second off personal best time. And by now, with 10 minutes gone, we're looking at being very close to the flag. There it is, just speaking about it, and that means that this lap will be the final chance they have to nudge off ERT Ben off that pole position. No improvement on the first sector from Fred Dude here. Joe of the Fire having just completed sector 2 and is now on the run up towards the line. And is it gonna be an improvement? I don't think so. It is an improvement, but not by enough. Nowhere near enough, though. It's gonna be second place, it seems, for Joe of the Fire. And who else is running here? James in the arrows. Aston gets a slowdown penalty of 1 second. Did certainly extend Farron's off, so it's no improvement as well for Farron. GTO. Here is Rotary. Doesn't seem like Rotary will be completing this lap as well. And let's see Fred Dude. Oh, Fred Dude fails to improve by 6,000ths of a second. Very close. It's true, Mew. I should get better at Ben with a full grazie ragazzi pedal there. But to be fair on Murray Walker, he had a very special style of being ridiculous in. It's very hard balance. And often, if you were to believe the man himself at least, it was not entirely random what these things would come. It would be for the entertainment value that it would bring to the broadcasts. And no doubt Murray, the all-time master of this, that is for certain. So we're looking at just getting the lap times noted for the GT cars, and we will get the LMP session underway quite soon as well. We have 2 TSR machines with Wake and Ryan. We have 2 VLX machines with the Mad Greek, that is Crazy John, and of course also Maverick. And we have the 2 Rebellion machines with Mika and Orama, the 2 Dutchmen. Plus we have his chinness himself in the Peugeot 908 diesel. Broken Heart. I feel like I'm missing out on some F1 stuff as well. It's gonna be pure blues, Traels and Martin. I'm gonna get the guitar. Minor blues, that is. Major blues not sad enough for us. We're getting a reset, and with that, it is time for the LMP qualifying session. Green flag, 10 minutes of LMP qualifying session underway. 7 LMP cars, we have 8 GTs today, good number of cars running, and as mentioned earlier, that is not gonna make the traffic any easier, that is for sure. Please don't spoil the F1 race in chat, just please don't, because if you do, I just can't read chat then, and that would be a disaster. No spoilerino, please. So as mentioned before, 10 minutes of LMP qualifying. Very much live here. Orama goes straight on, might have picked the wrong tires or something. What is this all about? Super softs it is, so I don't know what's Wake, TSR Wake in the Ben & Jerry liveried Porsche. We have Ryan in the other 919 it is. I was just about to say 911, that it certainly isn't. Sponsored by Doritos. Keeping in line with the snack themed liveries we've seen. Raced by Wake on more than a single occasion. And here the first flying lap is live. Let's go on board with a lap of Interlagos here with one of the LMP machines braking very late for turn 4 indeed, of course. Super softs, tons of grip available, manages to keep it within that AstroTurf of death on the exit of turn 4. Then turns 6 and 7 and into that middle sector. So easy to lose it on the exit here as well. And then bringing it right down to speed for what is turn 9, the slowest corner on track. Exiting the middle sector. And now just, well, it is actually 2 corners. We call it a single one. Yet another all-important exit as we run down towards the line. Now what we will be looking at, I think, is about 1 minute and 20. That's what it usually is for the LMPs. Might be underneath here. It's a 1:19.3 for Wake. And that is most certainly not bad at all. Sokyo. Oh, big slide into turn 1. And also the Peugeot 908. Perhaps not expected to be having the easiest of times for this race, that is for sure. Orama having set a time but feeling the pressure, it seems. Oh, a very good first sector here for Orama. Up by 0.4 of a second. And thanks, Mew. Appreciate it. Uh-oh. catchphrase of Martins indeed. Oh, with the lag for Orama. And the connection seems to stabilize itself all of a sudden. But it's not a purple time for Orama in the end. Fourth fastest. Sokyo just half a second off of Ryan, so that big slide in turn 1 could have been seriously costly for the Brit. And the Nukeshot 908 might be looking to surprise here. Seems to actually have decent pace, throws it into turn 6. Well, that's that 7, that is turn 7 of course. Turn 9, the slow one. Did you know, by the way, did you know that there's a lake in the middle of Interlagos? And Interlagos in the Brazilian, I think, means something like lake in the middle or mid-lake, or I don't know, Interlagos, between lakes. I don't know. Sokyo fails to improve, but is in front of CJ for the time being, at least. Here is the Mad Greek on a purple first sector. Is it going to be a purple second one as well? It certainly is, though. It's very close, but you'd expect the Tomahawk maybe to be able to gain a little bit on the 919, though. Of course, the Porsche very strong on acceleration from around 250 kph onward. The Tomahawk surely is going to be faster, and here comes CJ, and it's not going to be a pole time, at least not yet for the Mad Greek. 0.3 of a second off of Ryan's time. Maverick very close to CJ as well there. Of course, Traels, of course it is. How could I ever forget? Maverick with a bit of a slide there. Wake pitting in for the mid-session pit stop. Only 3 minutes left, so not a lot of laps left on the other side of things here. The same goes for Sokyo. So at the moment, it's still TSR Ryan topping standings, and it'll be both of the Volex machines in a TSR sandwich if things doesn't change by now. And it's quite close at the top of LMP affairs as well, and that promises to be very close racing as well then, because mind you, we had, I think, 3 cars within 0.3 of a second. And some of them very much closer indeed in the GT class, and now it seems we'll have some cars in very close proximity as well here. With CJ, Maverick and Wake, I think, separated by indeed less than 1/10 of a second. So it does mean between lakes, of course. Of course it does. Wake fails to improve. Oh, that was the outlap, of course. So this is most certainly, I think it's not even going to be last chance, unless of course they bin it here on this time around. CJ on the outlap. CJ is only going to get one more chance, one more shot here. Comes Maverick. Maverick, who's going to have an extra shot at this one as well. And let's see what this lap is going to be for the Brit of the VLX team. Oh, a slowdown penalty at the end of the lap. And that's going to, if I'm not completely mistaken, it's going to ruin the final one for Maverick. Oh, that's poor luck. That is Poor luck indeed. Here's Sokyo still standing, so that's not gonna be any more positions gained for them either. Here comes Wake, who seems to be a bit off the pace, but who, as mentioned before, will make the final lap. But will make it nonetheless. Here comes Ryan. Ryan for what is his final lap of the session with just a few seconds to go. Wake deciding to pull off for some reason. We'd expect Wake to actually be able to put in another time. Here is Ryan! Ryan, who was purple and set to improve, goes off white and in pure frustration hammers the car into the wall there. Now let's see, CJ still standing a chance to topple the TSR 919 of Ryan for pole position. Through sector 2 here, just that little bit up. And just about keeps the Tomahawk under control. And now it's gonna be a run to the line. Though CJ also failing to improve. With that, I think that's the entire field in. That it very much is the qualifying order confirmed for the LMP machines, with TSR Ryan on pole in front of the Mad Greek that is CJ. VLX teammate Maverick in third, and then completing row 2 will be the other TSR Porsche of championship leader Wake. We'll have, and where did Mika end up and all of that? I think Sokyo was 5th, and then the 2 Rebellions last on the LMP grid. Interlagos. Watch out for them spoilers. It's a dangerous world, trying to avoid them. It really is. Anyways, with the qualifying sessions completed, we're just waiting for the grid to be set, and I think it won't be long before we'll have the race running. "46 laps of racing to come here from Interlagos, and that's going to be about an hour of racing. And we're looking at, I think, about 6, 7, maybe even 8 more laps. So quite a bit of traffic to deal with for the LMPs here, and not the easiest place to do so as well, especially that middle sector really requires either some very cold blood or indeed some patience. Best of all, I think probably a combination of the two. The thing is that it's very much different from where you catch up to the traffic on this track, because the entire first sector is perfect for overtaking slow moving traffic. The final sector as well. So you can say that it could really end up costing time for the LMPs catching up to traffic in that middle sector. We'll see how they get about with dealing with that traffic. Amazon Fittipaldi leaving in the... No way Magnussen is second. I refuse to believe that. Mew, that is a very good question. Perhaps it's LMP1 Wreckfest? Ryan is giving us a very good example, at least, of LMP1 Rallycross. Oh, he goes to try to just go into the city of Sao Paulo. Fuck this, I'm breaking off. Maybe he wants to recreate that old Mika Häkkinen commercial where he leaves the F1 race and goes to have a coffee somewhere and goes back to win the race afterwards. Oh, commercials in the 90s. Those of us growing up with F1. I actually watched a lot of F1 on German TV because before getting Eurosport, I think it was kind of the only sports channel that would show F1 that I could actually catch. There were some years when they had it on the national Danish broadcasting service, but that disappeared, and all of a sudden we were stuck with German F1. They had some fantastic beer commercials. Of course, we all know German candy. Merci. We have the Knabbers, whatnot it's called. Werthers. The Werthers Original. Still a bit of wreck festing going on here. I got another spoiler for you with Chica is best Mexican. Good evening to everyone joining in for the Wreckfest here. As you see, it's an absolute chaos. It is, of course, just our regular pre-race ritual, so to say. A bit of smashing to relieve those feelings of rage, build-up rage from many races of punting each other off. I will be calling the safety cars as per usual. Turn 1, Jimmy, there's a big fight in turn 1. Better call the doorman, have them all thrown out. And with that said, finally, the final. Oh, good crash, Ryan. Nice stuff, maybe. Anyways, have a quick glance, have a short look. But look after, because it's gonna be done quickly, it's gonna disappear quickly. Here it is, the grid order. We have Ryan, Crazy John, Maverick, Wake, Sokyo, Orama, and Mika. In the LMPs we have Benjo, the Fire Fred Dude, James, and that was all I could see of the GTs. We'll have another look, as we of course have the formation lap. And today, sadly, Jimmy was axed in the most brutal of ways, because we needed the spot. Actually, 15 cars on track. We have 7 LMPs, we have 8 GTs, so a nicely populated lobby that is. It's of course a merged split for the second week running here in the NDS. Some of the drivers like it, some of the drivers don't. Me personally, what can I say? I love it. More tracks, more cars on track. That was what I meant to say. And more action, more drama, more traffic, more of all the good stuff. So here it is, the formation lap indeed being underway. Obama and P6, that's Obama, here he is in his rebellion machine, the rebellion by Nukeshot Motorsports. And you could say, I think actually all the LMPM machines are run by Nukeshot Motorsports in one way or the other. And then We were about to have a look at it before, never really got around to it. Well, that doesn't sound too good. Like something was up there, the LMP field. What's up, Erebus? Nice to have you along as well. Is that Jimmy Broadbent? But anyway, getting back to the GT field here, we have Ben of the iRacing team on pole position in one of two Calsonic Nissan GTRs. We have Joe of the Fire, the witty professor himself, the championship leader, second in the Nukeshot Toyota FT1 Fred Dude. His contender, his championship rival in the BMW M6 is third on the grid. We have James 44 of the Arrows Racing team in fifth. And Ben, does Ben seriously have mechanical damage already? He actually does. Oh my god. Now we're gonna have a restart here, or what? That is the We've had contact. I think Ben suffered some contact from behind. And a safety car has been called by Sokyo here. And pits are open, so we're gonna have safety car coming out before the race getting underway. Pit open, and Ben will be able to get that damage fixed at least. Fred Dude is Richard Nixon. The Vaterpoort. So that was Rotary and Ben. Who were though the two cars implemented in that bit of a calamity. Certainly is problematic now. What how can they be showing us being ahead here? That's very strange. Of course, waiting for the rest of the bunch to pass by. Somehow it's still showing Ben to be in the pit. Oh, and he just got... What? What on earth? What on earth just happened for Ben? He'll be able to catch up and to get his place back. And is it gonna be necessary for a restart? I don't think so. I think he'll be okay. But the question is, why was he put... Oh, that's Maverick! That's Maverick! What has he done? And how has Maverick managed to just be facing the wrong way around there? Just... Red flag. The race has been red flagged. And that means we'll be in for a full race restart. Unbelievable scenes. Indeed. Welcome to the NES, Tetsu. And that indeed, Jimmy, when you're not at the controls with Tetsu, that's what happens. Unbelievable memes. That's nice one, Traels. Hey, I'm doing my best, Sokyo, okay? Usually safety car doesn't come out for one car damage, and there was only one car called. What do you want me to do, huh? Follow the rules, huh? Was that just a solidarity spin from Maverick? That's a good question. That is certainly a good question. One thing for sure is we're gonna be a little bit delayed today, but hopefully not by too much. Hopefully not so that it affects any of the drivers' ability to actually finish the race. The urge to surge. Oh, Rama's coming back. Is this bottom split? It very much could be. I've been thinking about when I get that graphics card upgrade so I can actually run some streams in iRacing. I've been thinking about just doing exactly that. Of course, we're not going to be commentating on ovals, but I'm thinking like maybe IMSA, maybe the VRS, something like that. Bottom split in Europe, bottom split night in Europe, just steal the concept straight up and have some... Oh no! Oh, the record now! The will to chill. So Traels, we're gonna take it on. We're gonna do the will to chill and the hour of power. Oh, so a little bit of a warm up before we get. Oh, the Wreckfest is already going here again. And look at that 919 just being moved around by the superior mass. Exactly, Traels. I think that would be so much fun to do with a bit of a Discord gang broadcasting, hopping in and, you know, watching what's going on in these racing, being 2, 3, even more guys commentating on this racing, I think. Oh, that's a big hit indeed. Huge impact. Ryan is going the wrong way. Jimmy, thou shalt be more than welcome, although you'll probably need a PC that runs iRacing to be able to actually watch the race that we're commentating upon. Otherwise, I have a feeling it's gonna be a little hard staying up to date on what's actually happening. Of course, you could just watch the stream, but that's gonna be with quite a bit of a delay. This is Ryan entering the pits from the wrong way. Incredible scenes! Ryan is actually driving in the pits in Gran Turismo Sport. I've never seen anything like it before. Where's he gone? He's trying to plug the pit lane. Hello, Lenny. Nice to have you along, mate. Thanks for tuning in. Ryan, go the wrong way. Hey, Ryan, go the wrong way. This is my Bob Dylan impression. Hey, Ryan, you should be going the other way. Hey, I don't know. Yeah, Ryan, you're not supposed to be able to have so much freedom in GT Sport. PD doesn't trust us to be able to drive in the pit lane, for God's sake. This is the dankest broadcast we've had in a long time, and I'm absolutely loving it. So great to have you all along, bantering on. We should, before long, be getting the racing underway yet again. Hopefully this time. Hopefully this time we'll be able to get the formation lap done without any further problems. Lenny, we will be streaming for the entirety of this race. will be racing for about an hour's time from now on. We'll be having some short driver interviews post-race, as we always do with these GT Sport races. Looking at about an hour and 10 minutes of broadcasting from here on till we're done, I think. Jimmy's back. The safety car means that no harm shall ensue the drivers on this formation lap that we're off on now, with Ryan in pole position, as mentioned before, in front of the two VLX Tomahawks. It's Wake in fourth, and the second of the two TSR 919s, and then Sokyo and Mikano Rama, it seems, had connection issues in the end, I guess. And then, of course, in the GTs, it's Ben of the iRacing team in front of Joe of the Fire Fred Dude. It's James, the first of the AM Split Aston coming through. No, it's James in the first of the AM Split GTs in front of Baron, Taz, GTO, and Rotary. And here, let's go on board with the, well, not much of a Wang cam from TSR Jimmy's safety car. Don't make it into a danger car. We've had one of those before. Traels. Traels is a dank guy. Should anyone be in doubt? Means they would have ended pretty much on time with one another. So here we are. TSR Jimmy's gonna break off to the left into the pit lanes. The LMP field is gonna bunch right up. The GTs as well is gonna bunch right up behind. And in not so long, it's gonna be go time. Here we are on board with TSR Ryan for the start of the race. And here it is, the green flag has been waved and the LMPs are underway. And it's an immediate move from Wake to use the hybrid system of the 919 to gain second place. Oh, there's a tight squeeze there with CJ through turn one indeed. Let's have a look at the GTs here, as Ben has gotten a nice start, is holding on to first place. Joe of the Fire there, under pressure it seems, from Fred Dude in the BMW M6, and holding on to fourth, I think, was James in the Arrows. Aston, and then the two 919s behind as well. So a double TSR already here on the first lap, followed by the two VLX Tomahawks. Here it is, Ryan getting a very good run off of the start. Let's just have another look. Here it is. Let's just try to watch it down from the other end of affairs. On board, here we are with Mika in the Rebellion TSO 30. He gets the perfect run there, Ryan. Look at Wake, sneaky with that hybrid system. Little bit of a notch actually, perhaps, between Wake and CJ. Not entirely sure about that though. What is that Wake breaking off here? What happened? That's holding off, perhaps to give back the space to CJ. if there was indeed a bit of contact on the first lap. Wake having now fallen back down to 4th place. Let's have a look with the GTs. Oh, Fred Dude haven't gotten past on Joe of the Fire. And the Witty Professor most certainly looking to suffer a little bit with the arrows. Aston attacking into turn 1 as well. Championship leader, the Witty Professor, in a bit of a troublesome situation all of a sudden, down in 3rd. And as mentioned, under pressure from the AM split cars. And Aston very close. And that's the sick boy in me commentating. Trying to drink enough liquids so that I don't end up in a coughing cacophony of but seems like it's gone to it anyways. What's up, Mikey? Nice to have you along. Back here with Ryan now, 2.4 seconds of advantage already for the leading 919. Sokyo doing a good job of hanging on to the rear end of Wake here. Mika seeming slightly detached. Already half a lap up on the GTs here as we're on to lap 4 of 47. Of course, that formation lap counting for 1 as well. We'll be down back with ERT Ben, who's gotten a very good run on the rest of the GT field here over the opening couple of laps, and is now holding a 2.6 second advantage. We should expect Ben to be doing well with a little bit less ballast than both Fred Dude and Joe of the Fire. And now James has gotten past on the Witty Professor. So the arrows, Aston having gotten in between, and I would expect that to be into turn 1. Last time they went round, seeming to have very good pace in the car here over the opening couple of laps, and certainly it's gonna make it interesting. Give Fred Dude the chance to actually make up some ground in between the two. Yeah, Jimmy, somehow I don't know how I end up getting sick every time I have to drive in iRacing. It's not like, I mean, well, it's just been the last 2 times with the Petit Le Mans and today, but it's annoying. At least I'm not fully sick. I kind of was this morning. I've been taking a lot of witch doctor-ish stuff, like natural medicine and stuff, trying to stay fresh, and it's actually worked. So there's always something about it. Ryan extending the advantage. It's up to over 3 seconds now. CJ also pulling out a bit of a gap down to Maverick, who's holding on to 3rd place for the time being. And in 4th, it is the championship leading car of TSR Wake. Yeah, you know at Traels I'm supposed to have long hair and a round pair of John Lennon glasses and a pair of hands which are stuck, and a 2 permanent like victory signs who just won't go away no matter what I do, like a fucking dinosaur or something. Good evening, Kostya. Guten Abend. Guten Abend. So Wake seems to be gaining not much, but a little bit on Maverick. As I say that, he loses a bit of time. Of course, those heavy acceleration zones is where the 919 really gains. And then it's not as fast as the Tomahawks on top speed. Sokyo doing a pretty good job of not being far away as well. And then it's Mika in 6th and last place of the LMPs at the moment. Ryan still holding on to it out in front. And now, look here. James up into 2nd place in the GTs. managing to really fly under the radar, managing to also push his own pace even further. He's doing very strongly. Very good opening couple of laps here from that Arrows Aston Martin. Fred Dude down into third place now. Joe of the Fire fourth. And then it's lap 6. It's lap 6. It is indeed lap 6. Glad you can correct me on my Dirtenisms. Of course, here the LMPs now on lap 7. We're on board with TSR Ryan, the LMP leader, whose job it now is to cut, to slice like a hot knife through butter through this GT traffic. And there is quite a bit of it to contend with. Did I say lap? I don't even remember what I said. I probably said some shit. Into turn 1, getting held up by the Arrows Aston this time around. I think Fred Dude, everybody's losing time on that, but that is how it is. Traffic giveth, traffic taketh here. CJ also in a bit of a squabble there. Maverick having closed down over half a second as they've passed through the traffic here. Wake seems static at the moment though. Oh, what happened there to Maverick? Lost a lot of time through turn 4. I think we're stuck behind Joe of the Fire for that single corner. Let's just have another look here. We are on board with Maverick. Oh, it's behind Farron actually, I think. But that matters all the little in the end. The GT car is a GT car, no matter what brand or number it may have here. Maverick again unlucky, getting caught up behind James through the middle sector and having to absolutely send it round the outside. Managing to do so well indeed. And Ryan getting cleanly through for the first time. I think the entire LMP field has made it clean through. As I say that, Mika still has to contend with pretty much the entire line of GT cars. With CJ second place onto lap 9. We are for the leading LMPs. So Ryan now with a 4.5 second gap. It's really extended over the last couple of laps through that traffic and so on. It's been very strong over the open instinct so far, but we've seen before from Ryan isn't that he's not always strongest when it comes to tire conservation. Oh, Rabbit Gator. Nice to have you along as well, and the senior, but welcome, mate. And where's Obama? He's dead. Oh, Michelle must be devastated. Boom. That's a good one indeed. Also, Ben having put an extra half a second onto his 5-second advantage in front of James 44. Fred Dude still hanging on to third place and hanging on to the bumper of the Aston in front. Joe of the Fire suffering, it seems, and losing time at the moment. 2.7 seconds down. It's Taz behind Joe of the Fire, then Rotary and Farron and GTO of course as well in the Hyundai. We are on board with Farron. It's Rotary in the Calsonic, Nissan in front, and then Taz in the other 919. Late braking, not getting the best of exits from turn 4. Brian with a 2/10 of a second penalty, and that just got served by going deep into the final corner. replicator? That's... I actually don't know. Because it seems often there's a bit of time between the NES seasons. What, that Ryan pressing pause in the middle of everything there? Not quite sure, but it did seem to cost some time. Where? Wow, what happened to CJ? What has happened to CJ? So we're back on lap 8 here. That's a bit of time ago. So I'm not sure we can actually see or find out what happened to the Mad Greek, who's now 5th, and not last, but certainly having lost places in the LMP standings. Who's not carrying any damage. And the tires slightly worn, slightly though only. And yes, indeed, Ben did take pole in LMP Pro, or in GT Pro, in the GT field, as it's just one string. CJ having had, I'll have a look at the lap times just to see whether perhaps, well, we can't even see that there's a bit of a problem, it seems, as well with the lap time counter there, so not really able to see anything particularly special for CJ. We'll have to yeah, we'll have to use our imaginations to figure out whatever happened. Now Mika's into the pits here as well with a bit of damage, so the question is, did Mika and CJ have contact? Well, been a bit strange though. It's an early pit stop for Mika as well here, lap 12 of 47. About 25% of the race done by now. And it's still Ryan leading Maverick, Wake and Sokyo, holding on to a 4.3 second advantage in the GTs. It's still ERT Ben. ERT Ben still extending that gap in the GTR, looking very strong at the moment with a 7.2 second advantage here. Wake is in as well, and that is just a regular pit stop for TSR Wake. It's going to be rejoining at the back of LMP Affairs, and you have to wonder, that pit stop from CJ, was that just a regular stop? Could very well be. We'll just have a look at the times here, although I still cannot find the odd one out. That would be that lap 9, 132.7, and lap 8, 122.2. That could very much be it. What we're looking at for CJ, trying to figure out what exactly happened. That could very well be a pit stop. Those tires looking awfully fresh. I'm actually quite sure that CJ did take an early stop here, and now on to the tail of Sokyo. It's gonna have to find some way around, and I'm judging he's gonna have to find that way around pretty quickly, because right now he's really getting held up by the 908 diesel of the majestic Chin himself in front here. We're on with the Chin cam. I was about to say, oh, Sokyo almost loses it. Goes deep into the final corner, and CJ has an easy way through. Here we are with the outside cam, just looking like he's plowing into the corner. Lacks a little bit of grab. Lacks a little bit of grip there with the front end, and chooses to pit in as well here. See, those fronts are worn indeed. Ryan still going on, still going at it, still hammering on it. They lost a little bit of time down to Maverick, though it's not a lot. Still on that same first set of tires. Just to have a look there, was making its way around GTO and is now on the second round of traffic through the field here. Oh, grab! He's no grip! Oh, is that gonna be a majestic send on Rotary's GTR? That it very much was. Let's have another look here. On board we are. CSR Ryan coming up towards the two battling cars there. He just squeezes it in on the inside. And I think Rotary being quite gentlemanly not to force any type of problem in the end there. Maverick now in for the first stop. Second of the VLX machines. Now pitting, and we have yet to see Ryan coming in. Oh, what's that? Is that just fueling? Taking some time for Maverick. That was very sudden. That was very sudden indeed. Wake also, of course, after that pit stop on fresh tires. Now quite close to Maverick. Those two within a second of each other. We're going to be going for it and battling it out for third place. Ryan and Crazy John in front of affairs. Ryan having yet to pit, but with an 11-second advantage. Oh, and a big slide into the final corner. I'd expect to see Ryan coming in for a change of tires at least soon. I think he'd do wisely. Seems like he's losing pace and losing time with that losing grip. Maybe going for a one-stopper at the end here. I think that's a bit of a risky strategy, at least in my mind. Let's have a look back with the GTs for a second here. We still have Ben leading. It's now just with 6 seconds though. It's having Ryan coming up here and sending it, and Ben having picked up quite the penalty. That's more than a second's worth of slowdown. Excuse me. But more than a second's worth of slowdown, of course, slowly scrubbing it off here. In the process, losing some time. Where in this process though is Joe of the Fire. It's still James in the arrows as in second. Red Dude third, then Farron in fourth, Rotary fifth, Taz in sixth, and then Joe of the Fire in 7th place on the GT field. And did Joe bin it? That's a good call, that's a good question. Safety car? I don't think so. I haven't seen any calls of mechanical damage, so no one's noticed about any incidents, any accidents. Best autocorrect, that's a good one indeed, Jimmy. Do have a money tree. Oh well, what the hell are you talking about? Any other issues of yours should be shoved up your butthole if you have a fucking money tree in your backyard. So it's still Ryan here leading. Mind you, Ryan has yet to make that first pit stop. Ryan is still on that same set of quite worn super softs by now. And is quickly losing time, is really bleeding time down to CJ and the VLX machine sitting there in second at the moment, because it was over 10 seconds after that first round of pit stops, and Ryan having lost some time. Here's Sokyo about 10 seconds down on Maverick in front. It's Wake now in 3rd place. There's a bit of a gap between the Belgian here in the second of the two 919, the TSR 919s. But a bit of a gap between Wake and CJ as well. So some spread by now in the LMP class. Ben is been gaining a bit again, but still having to scrub off that penalty. Is down to 0.4 of a second now. Fred Dude is in the pits for what I think is his first stop, and a bit of damage as well for Fred Dude. The question is, caused by a collision with Joe of the Fire earlier on. Joe of the Fire is now back up into 10th place. Gained a couple of places quickly though. And let's see, Fred Dude. Where's the Belgian gonna exit? Fred Dude exiting in 10th place behind Joe of the Fire. A good way behind Joe of the Fire actually. Joe of the Fire who also pit quite a bit earlier in the end. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of strategies the GTs are on. And of course Mew sent Rips and Crazy of course also our best regards for a strong finish. Oh, and that's Mika. Just exiting the pits here. And then what? Oh, overshooting it. Oh, that's well kept in the end. Knowing to take it easy on that AstroTurf. With Ryan passing on the inside at the same time around now. A lap down, I think, Mika in the Rebellion TSO 30. And what has happened here? Because Ben up by 19 seconds. All of a sudden, Joe of the Fire, the witty professor, finding himself in second place on the GTs. And he was so far down before. Out comes James here in that Arrows Aston, 2.7 seconds down on the witty professor. James had a problem before coming into the pits. Not quite sure, just hanging out in the pits all of a sudden. It was surely just for the pit stop there, but good question in the end. So Joe of the Fire now second, Fred Dude in fourth. Quite a bit of changes going on in the GT class. Only thing seeming to be static is that ERT Ben is pretty comfortably leading now by 18 seconds of advantage. Although Ben still has to do a pit stop. But I'd expect Ben to be able to get out and still have a substantial advantage over the following cars. Although there is a bit of fueling to do with this stop as well. Certainly gonna be somewhat problematic for Fred Dude, but Fred Dude, mind you, on a absolutely brim tank, completely fresh rubber as well. Now let's see where Ben rejoins Joe of the Fire. Oh, that's gonna be right behind. Oh, they're gonna go side by side here. Ben and James in the Arrows. Aston James getting the good run out of turn 4. And now claiming, it seems, all still side by side. The GTR with some superior straight line grunt. And through turn 5 they go. Through turn 6 into 7. Still battling it out, but it seems Ben is gonna be holding on to it. And we're gonna have another look. Brilliant stuff here. On board we are with James in the Arrows. Aston, now look there to your left. Rejoining the track is ERT Ben. And let's see how close are they gonna go into turn 4. Ben braking very late indeed. Opens the cutback door for James, who wisely takes that option. But look at the grunt of the GTR up towards here. Just able to gain that line. They're still side by side. Great battle that is. Ben in the end closing the door, although also going a little deep. I think he'll be glad there's a left-hander coming up right after there for him to be able to close off the door. Now, yet again, very close squabbling between Ben and James, and that was with Ryan actually passing through as well. Joe of the Fire right in front of these two as well, so it's all very close here. The wang cam from the Toyota FT1 Vision Gran Turismo. Of course, the car of Joe of the Fire, the witty professor here. In the background, you can see Crazy John now appearing, getting closer. The VLX machine. Let's go on board here. Oh, and that's arrows! That's James almost losing it. And that was seriously close. And that's a seriously close battle as well there. Joe of the Fire breaks into the pits. Wake is now closing into the tail of CJ, and we'll have another look at that very, very close call. We're looking from the perspective of CJ up in front. You're looking at the orange Aston of James. Just catches a line of grass coming into the corner and just about manages to hold on to the rear end there in the end. Well driven. Now CJ with some company from Wagon behind there. Maverick is down into 4th place in the LMPs. It's Sokyo in 5th. We've had a disconnect with some technical difficulties for Mika, which means we're down to 5 LMP cars. And then still first in the GTs, or having gotten back to 1st place in the GTs after the pit stop of Joe of the Fire, the witty professor, of course. It is ERT Ben. We have James of the Arrows Racing Team 2nd. Then Fred Dude in the BMW in 3rd place. Farron, GTO, Taz, and then Joe of the Fire. And a good question to how Imperium are doing, our lads. Oh, and looks like Sokyo's car has gone tireless. It's a hover show. It's a hover show. It's hovering. It's hovering. Really hovering, actually. I've heard it's very good on tire wear. Actually, it has one tire. How is it balancing on that one front left? How is the power even transmitted? My mind is broken. Sokyo in an absolute center around the outside as well. Ben still holding on to it, leading in the GT class, but just by 1.3 seconds in front of James. Then it's Fred Dude, Farron, Taz. I think it's then GTO, Joe of the Fire, and then Rotary. So that's the standings at the current time in the GTs. Of course, it could still very much stand up to changes because I don't really know how exactly strategy is going to be playing out in the long run. And look at this as well, as CJ has gained the race lead in the LMP class. That's the first time we have one of the VLX Tomahawks actually leading. We have Ryan now down into 4th place. That's a good one as well. It's been a bit of a turnaround, to say the least, in the LMP class now, with CJ leading Wake, Maverick, and Ryan, although Ryan fresh in from the pits. CJ certainly on tired rubber. Same goes for Wake. Let's see, Maverick also not close to a pit stop, but not on fresh rubber as well. So Ryan, of course, with the advantage now for the time being. And thanks, Mew. It was nice to have you along. A memorable first time to tune in. I'm glad you liked it. Hope to see you again soon, mate. Let's have a look with Ben of the Aries Racing Team now, having Sokio for company as the Nukeshot Peugeot safely gets through. Ben still extending the gap down to James, just by a couple of tenths of a second since last time we looked, but it is, however, still an extension of that advantage in the end. And then Fred Dude, Farron, Taz, Joe of the Fire, GTO, and Rotary, but Joe of the Fire is still quite a bit of way back. And look at this as well, as Wake is now bearing down on CJ, so the battle still very much alive for the LMP lead. So it's closing, or it's the opposite of that. It's growing between Ben and the Aston of James in second place in the GT class. Fred Dude, however, is really gaining. He's gaining on both James and Ben in the lead. He's doing some very good times, it seems. Good pace in the M6 at the moment. This chat is really getting out of hand, Martin. Try to follow along. I'm agreeing with the Traels. No, guys, Ben, no, you. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, CJ with a bit of a squirmy moment there on the outside AstroTurf of turn 4, known to be deadly indeed. Turns 4 and 5, they're very close to one another, those two left-handers. There's that AstroTurf between the two corners on the outside of turn 4, but follows in all the way to and through turn 5 as well. All that AstroTurf on the driver's right-hand side of the track that has absolutely no grip in it, and going out there, it will be almost certain not just to lose a bunch of time, well, you could lose the entire car as well out there. And certainly is one of the most dangerous places you can go wide on this track, alongside, of course, the exit of the final corner, where it's so easy to lose the car as well, especially on tired rubber. The two leading LMPs are getting past the Hyundai Genesis of GTO. Still Wake, Maverick, and Ryan When they're all within 5 seconds at the moment, it's very close between the leading LMP cars. That is certainly making for some good and exciting racing. Ryan on a very good pace at the moment, actually gaining on the rest of the bunch here. They're slicing their way through the traffic. That was Wake getting past on Joe of the Fire. Oh, and there was a bit of contact up in front there. There was that between CJ and one of the Porsches. That must have been Farron then. We shall have another look here. We are on board with the Mad Greek. Coming into the final corner, should be well clear, but actually manages to touch the nose of the Porsche 911. Sends that into spin, also cost some time for the Mad Greek in front. There won't be any less mad from that situation, and Maverick, CJ, and Wake all in for pit stops now. That's gonna send Ryan racing right through. And with about 17 laps of racing left, it's gonna be just about 20 minutes to go here. All of a sudden, Ryan in front, 14 seconds out. Seems to be doing pretty well to conserve the tires, at least so far here. Let's see for how long Ryan can stretch it. Here is Ben. And then that GTR now with a 3-second advantage over the Arrows Aston Martin of James 44 Farron. I'm not sure if it was Farron or the other 911 RSR, but Farron in third at the moment, but with Joe of the Fire and Fred Dude for very close company in behind. And now Ryan pits in. That's gonna be the final stop for Ryan as well. Just a little bit of fuel, fresh tires as well. And now Ryan, of course, gonna be hoping to actually be able to rejoin in front of CJ here with about 16 laps left to race. What's it gonna be? Ryan certainly rejoining there with a over 5 seconds of advantage. And then all of a sudden it's looking very good for the TSR Porsches here. Wake. It's within 4 seconds of both the VLX cars. Right in front, still very close. As we're into the final 20 minutes of racing here. The final part of the race, very much so here with Fred Dude and Joe of the Fire. Very close to one another as well. Fred Dude with a bit of a penalty there. Having to scrub off tenths here and there, but right on the tail of the Witty Professor through this middle sector, really applying the pressure. Well, Lenny, you've come to the right place. You won't be finding any help getting rid of your addictions. I think more so you'll be finding stuff to keep him going. To be honest here, this time around, Fred Dude getting a good run out of the final corner. And he has Joe of the Fire to his right. The FT1 very strong on top speed. Let's see who can keep the coolest head into turn one. Here's Fred Dude's now finally gotten rid of that little bit of a penalty. And with a very good move here into turn one. Also gets the better of championship rival Joe of the Fire. Here it is from another perspective here with a Fred Dude up the inside. Plenty of space there through turn one. Not much to do about it for Joe of the Fire. Maybe not wanting to go too heavily into it in order not to lose too much time on Ben and James 44 and the two leading GC cars at the moment. Still looking very strong. Ben with now a 4.5 second advantage down to that aforementioned Aston Martin of James 44, so that's certainly looking good for Ben. So wonder if that could be one more pit stop coming up though. And that is true. That is true, Jimmy. Fred dude. Aston Martin? Aston Martin? Watch out, Martin, I'll just end up just saying Aston. You won't have anything that sounds remotely close to your name here. Sokyo in the pits for a final pit stop. Coming off a set of mediums onto what I think will be a set of super softs here for the final 15 laps. It's going to place that Nukeshot 908 pretty far down the running order here. Ryan still with a 5.8 second advantage down to CJ. It's teammate VLX Maverick in third, and then there's championship first placee Belgian TSR Wake in the Sugar Rush Performance 919. And keep them coming, lad. We've almost made 500 chat messages today. I think if we pair that with what we've had on the iRacing, be good way closer to 1,000. That's epic stuff. That's really nice to see. Ooh, was that someone off? That it was someone off. Was that? Well, it wasn't Ben. It was teammate Rotary, who had a bit of a tough time. Let's have another look at what happened. We're coming out through turn 5 and up towards 6. Also carrying 0.6 of a second's worth of penalty. Just carrying much too much speed into there. Having to go wide. I think Ryan pretty happy that it didn't really get in the way here. Joe off the fire pitting in. That's late for the witty professor. Rejoining track here. Maybe knowing that that he'd need this final stop. 47 minutes of racing now gone, and we're closing in on the final 10 laps of racing for the LMPs. Yes, this AstroTurf is like it's ice with soap on top of it. Maybe some melting chocolate or something as well. Here's CJ now, the car having lost its wheels, hovering around. The two BLX machines very close to one another today, and generally the top 4 LMPs separated by just around 10 seconds. That's very close in the end. And then ERT Ben 6.5 seconds down to that Aston second. Now Fred dude pitting in and getting out, back out again. 4 seconds clear of Joe off the fire. It was surely just trying to fend off any kind of undercut coming from the witty professor here, as Fred dude is back out. And it's 3.4 seconds behind between the two. The scientist there. Joe of the Fire, I have to say, doing a pretty good job of chasing down Fred Dude. Has been gaining over this lap, the course of this lap at least. Here is a pit stop, the final one to come for ERT Ben. Let's see how the Arrows Aston is doing. Well, it's doing well with James 44 behind the wheel, but James most certainly also needs another pit stop. And in that sense, I don't think it's alarm bells really ringing for Ben. But that, of course, depends. Where is Fred Dude and how close is the Belgian going to be to the previous leader? Oh, that's 9.5 seconds between the two. So a comfortable advantage in the end for Ben. And all the Erie's racing team driver now has to focus on is to be there to be able to regain the class lead when James 44 pits in. And that'll be, I think, at the end of, if not this lap, the next one, because there certainly wasn't a lot of fuel left in the tank of that Aston when I had a look just a second ago. What's up, Benjit? Nice to have you along as well. And Rabbit CJ hasn't been the only one to do it tirelessly. We've also had Sokyo before this stop. He's now back out tired, but he seemed very fresh. He wasn't very tired at all. As a matter of fact, he only had his front left last time we looked. Here's that pit stop from James, the aforementioned one. Let's see where he is able to rejoin. Surely it'll be interesting, especially taking into consideration the battle that was also racing between Fred Dude and Joe of the Fire, though it is still 3 seconds behind. But between the two, let's see, where does James rejoin? Oh, that's right on the tail of Joe of the Fire. So that means Fred Dude moving on through, Joe of the Fire just moving on through, but by no more than half of a second. Let's go on board with James 44 in the Arrows Racing Team Aston Martin. Really sending it into the middle sector there. Of course, fresh tires, so should have plenty of grip. Now at the front of LMP affairs, Ryan still leading Crazy John by 7.1 seconds. Looking good for the TSR team. We're well into the final 10 laps of racing. Maverick is in third at the moment, around 10 seconds down on leader Ryan, and then championship leader Wake in fourth place. We've still got ERT Ben leading the GTs in front of Fred Dude and Joe of the Fire, completing the podium at the moment. Already another pit stop for Sokyo. I don't feel like it was a particularly long time ago. Look at those tires, almost fresh. So it must have been some kind of fueling bug, perhaps, for the Peugeot. Still has to be said, ERT Ben looking very comfortable in the lead, on top of affairs here tonight. It's been so strong so far. The 88 Calsonic GTR looking to bring home the victory here from Interlagos in the GT class. Of course, the merge split means that we're racing for both LMP overall Pro and AM victories, and that goes for both classes, of course. So still something to race for as well for our AM class leaders, and at the moment that'll be Sokyo in the LMPs, and it'll be James 44 in the GTs for the time being at least. On board with Sokyo the Radish here as he goes for a fast lap. His out lap is over with, and we will stay on board at your wish, Traels. Sokyo is 3.5 tenths up here through Sector 1. Going for the fastest lap, really attacking it at the current time. Although you'd expect the 908 to lose some time through the middle sector, I don't think it can keep up with the pace of the Porsche 919s through here. It'd be strange if it could, though I have to say Sokyo is doing a pretty good job of navigating this car through it. Of course, this car, huge amounts of torque from that. Well, what's it? A V10 or a V12 diesel? Oh, I don't really remember. A big, strong turbo diesel unit nonetheless. 7 tenths clear. A little bit of traffic there through the final corner. Might lose some time on the start-finish straight. It's looking good for Sokyo for final or for fastest lap. A little bit of slipstream as well to be had. What's it gonna be here across the line? A second down. That is indeed incredible. And so Ryan still holds fastest lap so far with a 1:18.6. Ryan also with a 7.3 advantage, 7.3 second advantage, that is, of course, over CJ in the first of two VLX machines. Just 3.5 seconds between those two. And then TSR Wake is in the second of the TSR Porsche 919. He's in 4th place at the moment. And that is a purple first sector for CJ as well. But having to muscle, just slide on through the car of GTO there. And Jimmy, you might just be right that there is indeed really no beating the hybrid around Interlagos here. It certainly makes for a difficult job. They are very, very, very hard to beat on anything that just twists a little bit. And of course the top speed of the non-hybrid machines is a lot better. But that 919 just gets so quickly to 250. No, a very small V4. And it actually sounds pretty good too, to be honest. At least here in GT Sport it's not all bad here. Wake in P4. 17 seconds is all that separates the top 4 in the LMP, so it's also pretty close. Benji, thanks. Thanks. Neon, I think that's autocorrect of nope, perhaps Martin, although I'm not sure. Could be many things. See here in the GTs, it's been a while since we've had a look, and now it's Ben leading Fred Dude, then James, and then Joe of the Fire. Joe of the Fire looking to lose time, pretty big time as well. Laps left of racing for the leading LMPs. And it's looking better and better for TSR Ryan. He's really looking for a victory here. And it's seeming to bring it home for TSR. Ben, of course, also in a very good position to keep a hold of that 7-second lead over Fred Dude in second place. In third in the GTs overall. First in GTAM is James 44. Then Joe of the Fire might be looking to hammer down fastest lap for the GTs. Oh, that's a late pit stop for Fred Dude. That's a very late pit stop for Fred Dude, as I have to have a look just why I'm having a little bit of a hard time really understanding. But Joe of the Fire still behind though. That could very well be the reason in the end that Fred Dude could see, okay, I can keep Joe of the Fire behind, and I can go for a fresh set of super softs and go for that fastest lap here at the end of the race. Still keep that podium position. Certainly looking for fastest lap, but we don't really have an opportunity or a chance to see what the fastest lap situation is at the moment for the GTs. Okay, Ryan keeps on extending the advantage. Sokio's into the pits, is now exiting it. Wake coming in as well, but with plenty of time. Wake, I think, is going to go for an attempt at fastest lap as well. I'd be surprised if that's anything else here, as Ryan is on the penultimate lap. As Wake just begins the very same penultimate lap. Not a lot of racing left to do for any of these drivers. They're beginning to run out of road. And here it is, Ryan entering the final lap with 11 seconds of clean air down to Crazy John in second. It's Maverick third, and then Wake fourth. Is Sokyo in fifth, and that's the running order in the remaining LMPs. Does look like Ryan is gonna take this one home. Same goes for ERT Ben, who's leading by 10.6 seconds down to James 44 in that Arrows Aston Martin. And then Fred Dude, not too far behind. Fred Dude, of course, probably looking for a way past on that Aston up there, but 1.7 seconds. It'll require a mistake, I think, from James in order for Fred Dude to close that kind of gap. But look at this now, Fred Dude plowing up, really running quickly here, already having pulled out half a second from that advantage. And now it's not gonna take much more of a mistake from James to actually allow the Belgian to get the run here. We are on board with Fred Dude. We're gonna go to the wang cam of the Aston in front. Just for a look at this final lap as Fred Dude is closing in that BMW M6, certainly getting bigger and bigger and bigger indeed, as TSR Ryan now has taken a hold of that checkered flag. First one to reach it, taking the race win here at Interlagos for TSR. And that's Crazy John Maverick rounding off the LMP podium. That means that Wake is going to come home for 4th. We're going to have Sokyo coming home for 6th. And in the end, I think Fred Dude might very well get the run here. Coming home to the line, I think it's going to be Ben, of course, taking the checkered flag. But let's just see here. This one is going to be really interesting because Fred Dude looking for championship points, but 0.3 of a second off. It's not going to be close enough. And with that, James of the Arrows Racing Teams holds on to 2nd place in the GT class. Of course, as mentioned before, Ben of the Aries Racing Team taking home the win with a dominant performance in the Calsonic GTR. Very nice race as well from the Arrows Aston of James 44. Fred Dude scoring some important championship points, finishing in front of Joe of the Fire, coming home for 4th place. Then in 5th in the GT class is going to be Taz coming home in the first of the 2 911 RSR. Then Farron there coming home in the second of them. GTO 15 or so seconds in behind, and Rotary already having gotten across the line. And we've got CJ telling us, that's nice info to have, James having clinched the GT3 AM title. So a big congratulations to James of the Arrows Racing Team. Now I'm gonna present you with a moment of bouncy heads, as I'm gonna be joining the Arrows Racing Team party, as I just take it that most of our drivers are in here. I'm just gonna have a look. Certainly looks like it. Not
hello,
bad. Hello, drivers.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Say hi. Collective hi.
Hi.
Hi. There it is. That's what I wanted. Great. Now, let's. Do we have Ryan with us here? Is he here?
Yeah.
Yes, Ryan. Congratulations. A very strong race, a very strong performance to grab the win here at Interlagos in the LMP class. It looked easy for you, lights to flag, and just feel like asking, was it easy?
No, not really. I don't really like this track, so... but I tried something new with the strategy, so...
With a man of few words, you had the perfect opportunity to just Mika Hakkinen comeback me on that one. Didn't grab it. Perhaps you're too young to know what that even is. If you are, if that's the case, go look it up. But anyway, that's not gonna make the result less nice, I guess. So congrats on a strong win. And I'm not gonna keep you. I'm not gonna keep you talking if you don't feel like it. So second place in the LMPs, Crazy John, the usually mad Greek. I don't take it that you're that mad after the race today, given that we wouldn't expect the Tomahawk to really be that competitive here at Interlagos.
In the opening laps, when we were through the GT3 field, the first time I hit one of the Porsches, I got damaged, and that really hampered my chances for a race win. I had to go for the 2-stop after that. It was kind of experimental. The pace of the Tomahawk didn't really surprise me. I always knew that this track was like a Interlagos, much like the next pattern. And finishing in second is probably the best thing I could do after that hit. And since I finished like 2 positions halfway, I think it's gonna be really close with the champ. With 2 races left, it should be a big battle.
Very much so, and it is indeed 2 positions in front of Wake, who finished in 4th. So we're looking forward to the final rounds of the championship and the championship fight between yourself and Wake. CJ, congratulations on second place today.
Just a thing to mention. I need a thing to mention. Next week's race might be postponed because we have to catch up to incident reports and such. so we can have the time to organize the standings and such. So you might have to wait 1 more week, so you can.
Now you're warned, everyone. Now you're warned. I think I'll survive. Personally, I hope you will as well. But we'll quickly hop on to Maverick, 3rd place today in the second of the 2 Volex machines. How did the car feel out there today, Maverick? If Maverick is here, that is. Maverick actually is here.
Is he?
Maverick is here. He's in the party.
He's in the party.
He's in the party.
Yeah.
He's disconnected now.
There he is.
There he is. Oh, okay. Maverick! Hey! Perfect timing. I'm just gonna repeat the question, I guess. Congratulations on 3rd place in this race today. Did the Tomahawk feel as quick as it looked for you and CJ out on track today?
For me, I'm just glad to get the podium after my shocker last week. Yeah, the car felt alright. I was hoping to give Ryan a challenge. I thought I'd try switch to the 2-stop to push him a bit, but unfortunately I had a spin. So yeah, but overall I think happy with my pace. It was a good day.
And you seem to be pretty well matched to the hybrid power of the Porsche 919s. Did you expect to be able to actually compete with the hybrid systems, given that there are so many acceleration zones here at Interlagos?
No, not at all. I think on the exit of the last corner, they were pulling 3-4 tenths on me every lap, so it was difficult. Yeah.
Well, in the end, great performance, great drive to grab 2nd, and congratulations to the team for grabbing 2 podium spots as well. That also concludes the LMP podium, and that means we're gonna hop on to the GTs. And let's start from the top. Do we have Ben alongside with us here?
We did.
No? Oh, we did? I'm just gonna... Bouncy heads! Look down through the... Well, he is here, but he's muted. Well, we're gonna take it from the other way then. Do we have Fred with us then?
Hello.
Hello, Fred. 3rd place today. Maybe
No,
not the... Was it 2nd?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's 2nd, of course, in the... Of course, AMS.
Hold up.
AMS and pros got me confused for a second. Well, alright, that's not bad. But most importantly for you, I guess, would be finishing in front of Joe of the Fire, keeping that championship battle alive. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, feeling pretty good about it, and also I guess 2nd was like the best possible position I could finish in, because I knew Ben would have a very fast car around here, especially since GTR has a lot of straight line speed. So I guess 2nd was the best option I could have, and I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah.
Well, that's good to hear, and congrats on that result. Then really looking forward to the last couple of rounds in that championship fight between yourself and Joe of the Fire. And hopping on then to our GT AM class winner. I guess it is an overall 2nd place finisher from Arrows Racing Teams. It's James 44. James, you seem to have, I guess, if you're here with us, which I'm taking that you are. Yes?
I think I saw him leave the party.
No. He left! No!
Who left?
James.
James left the party. Now the party sucks. And Ben is mute in the... Ben is not mute anymore. Ben, are you here? Okay, so Ben is that guy at the party who's now at the corner sleeping.
We're getting drawn on.
Okay, Joe, we're gonna have a comment from you then, Witty,
Okay.
Mr. Wit himself. P3 for the pros, P4 overall. You seem to struggle a little bit with the FT1 today and the tire wear. Is that a correct observation?
Yeah, definitely. I was having to run the soft tyre, and I planned to do like 4 stops, I think, but I ended up doing 3. I know Fred was able to run the super soft and make that last, but I couldn't do that. And then also early in the race I messed it up a little bit for us for challenging Ben by giving Fred and me damage, so that wasn't great.
So, what do you see as the prospects for the last 2 rounds and the championship fight between yourself and Fred Dude?
Next race I feel like Fred will probably do a bit better again, like same as here. I think it'll be that kind of race. But then for Sarf, I don't really know. Anything can happen.
Well, as we know, Joe, and I certainly know, anything can happen with you behind me at the South.
It usually does.
It usually does, indeed. No, we'll be looking forward to that race.
Doing it.
We'll be looking very much forward to that race as well. Anyway, Joe, thanks for your words, and as well, we'll be looking forward to the championship battle in the GT Pro split. With that, I think it's just about time to round off tonight's broadcast. I'd just like to say thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. It's been my utmost of pleasures having you all along. Such an active evening, so much chat, so much banter. It's been great, and I dearly hope that you'll be tuning in with us next Sunday, if indeed it's going to be next Sunday, or maybe the Sunday after. We'll see. For the next round of the Nukeshot Endurance Series. Of course, we'll be doing more iRacing as well soon. Don't exactly know when, but it'll be coming up on the channel. If you liked it, well, hit the thumbs up button. And if you really like what we do here on the channel, feel free to subscribe. And with that said, my name is DirtenDK. You've been watching Half the Race Gone. And until next time, take care, have fun, and bye-bye, wavy hand.